We're no strangers to a property conundrum.
We have one bathroom. I have to get up at the crack of dawn.
Kitchen doesn't work, the hall doesn't work, the garden doesn't work.
Across Britain, many of us are living in properties not built for the challenges of modern life.
But now, more than ever, we need our homes to work hard for us.
The kitchen is useless.
The house doesn't work for us as a family. We're all in different rooms.
Yes, our homes need to be more than just the place we live in.
They're where we work, play, socialise, and even exercise.
I bought your trunks.
You are joking.
So we're looking back at our most brilliant builds.
Are you impressed?
I am mighty impressed.
Where I help couples tackle renovations of all shapes and sizes.
To show homeowners across the UK and you how to make the most of the space you have.
Oh,
Look at that.
this looks rather good, doesn't it? Wow.
All in the name of resolving that famous dilemma.
Are you going to love it?
Or list it. Yes, when it comes to renovations, we always have a solution.
We?
I like to lend a hand now and again.
Today, it's all about perfecting your extension.
I genuinely don't know what the hell I'm going to do to improve this house.
As we look back on two couples divided over spaces they hated.
Let's smack him now.
You could argue that you're polishing a turd here.
Yeah.
For each, the solution was to dig deep in more ways than one.
£100,000 is not going to touch the size as it disappears.
But boy, when they built big, they built brilliant.
Flipping hell.
What do you think?
It's huge.
Just gobsmacked.
And now we're finding out what happened next.
I'm very happy with the money that we spent.
It was worth it to get the space that we have.
A fifth of people right now are considering extending their home. People are spending more time in it, they don't want to move, the costs of moving are rising, and more people are looking at ways of extending. What do you feel are the kind of key elements of a successful extension?
What difference is it really going to make to your life? So, is it going to make your life easier, happier? If you're just doing it to add value, it might not have heart.
I've always felt a successful extension needs to feel like it was always there. It shouldn't feel like an extension.
No.
And I guess we've both seen lots of extensions that are kind of bolted on the back of a house, and it just feels a bit separate, a bit disjointed.
The mistake is to go for space sake. Square footage, not all square feet have the same value in the same place.
Good point.
I always want an extension to add a little bit of a luxury feel to a house. You're getting something that's just a bit more...
bit more special.
Yeah.
But building something spectacular is rarely easy. And back in 2017, I was about to face one of my biggest design challenges ever.
Yorkshire is very special. It's God's own county. It's got incredible architecture, amazing cities. That is a reservoir.
Reservoir.
It's a truly stunning location, but what awaits is a bizarre house. Meet Carl and Paul Payne-Durkin. They bought the property after stumbling across it on a country walk.
Came to the front, not really impressed with it.
Not at all.
As soon as we just saw the back garden, we were just like blown away. It's amazing. It is like Narnia. You sort of like come through a little porthole and you discover this amazing garden in the back here.
Back in the real world, the only thing Carl and Paul can agree on is the outdoor living and lovely walks for Poppy, their dog.
This is a 1970s box. It's just a square box.
Don't all houses are boxes, aren't there? It's just some are beautiful boxes. It could be polished up like a little chocolate box, really, if you think about it.
No pressure, Kirstie.
Thanks, Phil. Making this three-bed workers' cottage match up to its idyllic setting may be beyond even my skills. And aesthetics aside...
Inside needs redecorating, it needs new kitchen, it needs new bathroom. Don't get me wrong, the garden's lovely, but the house itself, it needs a lot of work doing to it. It's cold.
Cold being an understatement.
It does get nithering.
Nithering.
Well, it does. We fight over who's going to go put electric blanket on, don't we?
And it's not just the lack of heating causing frostiness between this sociable pair.
We really, really like to entertain friends and invite them round, but the problem is we just don't have the space. So nothing nicer than coming out here, but the weather.
Only being able to entertain for just half the year is a real no-no.
Luckily, though, Carl has a solution for all of this. Listen up, Kirstie.
I very much want to bring the garden into the house. It's like an extension of the house. I want our friends to come round and be wowed by it. You know, when you go away to, like, one of these spa resorts in Thailand, for example, they've got lots of lovely rich woods around, and you instantly feel relaxed and rejuvenated as soon as you get there.
Okie dokie, Thailand. And anything from you, Paul?
We've both talked about, on the extension, having
The flat roof.
the flat roof, which we can actually walk on and use it as a viewing point, looking out over the beautiful valley.
I think Kirstie can deliver that for me, personally. And I think she's going to turn your head.
I hope it is God's own country, because I need a miracle to get me through this one.
Ooh,
Here we are. It is odd-looking,
it's a very odd-looking house.
It's only got one window. I'm Phil.
Phil.
Very nice to meet you.
Carl.
Hi, Carl.
Well, welcome to Reservoir Cottage.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called, Reservoir Cottage? Ooh.
It's a very pretty drive out across the reservoir.
What he means is ugly house, nice drive.
Yes.
Yes, I agree. I agree with where we are. Absolutely agree with it.
Come on, let's get in. Come on in.
Tactful as ever, Kirstie.
So what's this all about, then?
We always knew that when we bought the house that we need to do a lot of work on it.
What makes you want to move?
It's the house. There's no character to it. It needs a lot of work, time and effort spending on it. It just needs starting again, really. I would prefer somewhere just a little bit closer to a little bit more amenities and social life.
Those are the downsides, but during the spring, summer months, I don't think we'd get a better location than here. We're only half an hour from Leeds, and yet we're surrounded by all this. For me, in my mind, I can see like an overhang. Takes us back to the time when we were in Thailand. Tropical storms, but we're still sat out on the balcony. And, of course, energy efficiency. I think is probably about my final.
To be honest, you lost me at Make My House Like Thailand.
My £100,000 budget may be my biggest to date, but this is also shaping up to be my greatest challenge.
What does that mean?
It means,
It's an ugly house.
yeah, but I live in an ugly house, don't I? And I put up with the ugly house because of the location and the view.
And the view.
Yes, but you've not tried to transform your London pad into Koh Samui, Kirstie.
That is the width of this house. So let me tell you, mister, the bedrooms are going to be this minus the staircase. And the landing.
And whatever you did, it's debatable whether it would match up to the garden, because the garden is amazing.
And whether it's chasing good money after bad.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to say it. I'm thoroughly gloomy about this house. If that was a smile from you...
It's nothing of the sort.
Well, maybe a little one.
It's such a lovely spot with a beautiful garden. And that's why they want to stay here. And they're big men, and they've got a big dog in not the biggest house. You're unnaturally quiet.
I know, Phil, because there's just so much to get my head around. Everything in this house needs redoing.
Yeah.
Every single floor covering, every single carpet, every...
You've got £100,000.
Phil, £100,000 is not going to touch the sides as it disappears.
She's really very upset today. Did you get out of bed the wrong side, or what?
No, I've got imagination and vision, but even I am taxed by certain properties, and this is one of them. I genuinely don't know what the hell I'm going to do to improve this house. So, got my glasses on. That's always a serious sign. Cue seriousness. So that's your current house.
Yes.
OK?
Yep, deep breath.
Deep breath.
Whoa. I'm just trying to get my head around that.
Yeah.
I want to open up the entire downstairs by knocking down walls and extending 3 metres out, making their house's footprint 32% bigger. An extension of this scale will cost around £50,000, and that's not even counting the windows or kitchen. A top-to-bottom glass front and extended decking will mean that the garden will be drawn into the house. The corridor and larder will merge to create a utility and washroom for Poppy. Up Upstairs, the changes are minimal, but effective. By knocking down an old cupboard, we're creating a shower in the bathroom. And by simply moving the doorway, we can move the bed, which will create more space.
Now, you've got to be honest with me. Is this filling you with horror?
I think it's a brilliant solution. That's why
you're here.
Got Kirstie.
The thing that will be the wow is this big entertaining kitchen and a big circling space.
Which is what I wanted.
I'm definitely warming to that. I like that. It's flipped my thinking on its head a little bit.
I do like this. I do like it.
Bravo. I said you'd come up with something genius, didn't I?
You did.
I'm impressed. I can't wait to get started.
I remember when you looked round that house to start with, you were pretty miserable. It was in a beautiful spot, but it was a rather kind of grey box.
Oh, ugly.
Yeah.
Pug ugly.
And then there was talk about putting another grey box on the back.
Their house had a lot of value in its location, so although it was an ugly house, it was worth quite a lot because of where it was.
They wanted something pretty grand.
And they knew what they wanted to do in the space. If you said to me, I want to spend £70,000 on having a huge living room, and I said, what are you going to do in it? And they said, we're going to watch telly. I would say, don't spend the £70,000, buy a big telly, buy some really comfortable sofas, and do that in a smaller room, because once you're sitting down, you're sitting down. If someone comes along and says, I regularly have 10 friends for dinner,
yes.
I'm a really keen cook, I don't want to be cut off from my friends when I'm cooking, I want the table and the sitting room and the kitchen to be in the same room, then I'd say, go ahead, spend £70,000+ on doing that.
So the key thing is to design your space around how you wish to live and entertain your friends and
yes, what you're going to use it for.
Back in 2016, we met Richard, Carla and son Daniel, who just wanted their home to work for themselves. Never mind anyone else. But the solution to that made for a divided household.
Fundamentally, I don't have a problem with the house.
Hate the house.
This is their battleground, a 4-bed 1930s semi, which for A&E Dr. Richard and midwife Carla was never meant to be their forever home.
Where it was supposed to be a sort of stopgap house. And 14 years later, we're still in the stopgap house.
If it's not broken, there's no need to fix it. And in terms of location, I'm really happy with where I am at the minute.
While happy Richard may be, things are most definitely broken, and Carla's patience is running out.
I'm often in the kitchen, cooking. Richard's listening to CDs. Daniel's watching telly or doing homework. We're just zoned. We're just all separate. It's not good enough.
Our mission is to reunite the family, but that's not the only issue here. Their last renovation attempt resulted in major disappointment. And to top it off, they've been told their converted loft doesn't comply with a range of building regulations.
It's really, really made me very frightened of having a builder.
I want to be happy in my home, and at the moment I'm not with the way it's configured. We need to move. Have I said that? We need to move.
Couldn't agree more, Carla. Time to seize the day.
Right, there we go.
Here we go again. Hello.
Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello.
Carla, I'm Phil.
Do you think the reluctance to move is affection for the house or desire for an easy life?
Probably desire for an easy life. In terms, I mean, probably desire for an easy life.
I don't want to push the point. That's fine. Carla, what do you want to find in your home to make you want to stay here?
I would have to be completely bowled over from the minute I open the door. And then I'll have to see the kitchen and think, oh, my God, let's put a pot on the stove. Let me cook.
While Phil may disagree, I say there's no such thing as a house that can't be solved. My biggest hurdle is Richard and Carla's fear of renovating. Though taking a look around, there's a lot of work to be done.
It's not a bad kitchen.
Phil, would it be unfair of me to say I get the feeling you're enjoying this?
It's slightly unfair. I'm feeling your pain.
There's cracks all over the shop.
All this.
No, I know, it's got to go.
But it's a real sod to get rid of. I mean, it's just hard work.
Yes, Phil. I thought that work was needed downstairs and work was needed up here. But actually, work is needed in every single room.
And I don't think I'm going to get this sorted out for 35 grand.
It's a very nice house. It just needs rather a lot of money spending on it, doesn't it?
It looks so simple. I just thought I was knocking down the wall between the kitchen and this dining room.
Never easy.
Oh, shut up.
Still, faint heart never knocked Phil Spencer off his high horse. But while I know I can restore Carla's faith in this house, making both the cosmetic and the structural changes the Charleses want may mean rethinking their budget.
I need to say up front that I think that sorting out the loft, new kitchen, knocking down the wall, new carpet, total redecoration and in many cases replastering of a lot of the rooms won't happen for £35,000.
Right. We have to think about it. From what you're saying is that we need to sort it.
I want to absolutely assure you that Kirstie and I will work together through this because we can see the predicament that you're in. Let's catch up in a bit.
That's right, Phil. Hug it out. But there are tough decisions ahead. On my side of things, anyway.
Part of the problem about this house is it's been neglected and it's got into this state. You need to spend about £1,500 to £2,000 on your house every year. I've never seen anything like this before. The floor is just coming up like a flaming volcano.
Before Richard and Carla can even think about extending, they need to sort out the list of problems in their existing space.
The problem is that the house really needs updating cosmetically, and there is quite a lot to do. Here is what I envisaged that you could have.
All right.
To really bring this family together, first we'll remove the back door and the existing entrance to the kitchen. Then we'll knock through in order to link the kitchen and dining room. We'll also cleverly position the units across 3 walls, so Carla will have a more practical space that feels bigger, but it won't cost a small fortune.
I mean, for the person who wants to say that plan is excellent, OK?
I think my thing would be, is it going to feel big enough? And say you go out even 2 or 3 metres.
Oh, you mean out this way? It's just not in the budget, Carla.
While extending the ground floor and tackling the loft will definitely increase this property's value, it also means almost doubling what the Charleses were hoping to spend.
I think you would end up with a fantastic house, but it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lot of money.
It's a decision only Richard and Carla can make. It takes 8 weeks, but finally there's a decision. Carla's overcome her fear of renovating and then some. She and Richard have upped their budget to a whopping £60,000 to get the extension on the ground floor she wanted for a super-sized kitchen diner.
It's good that we've started.
Yeah, it's good to at least see some sort of progress. It's been a couple of months in the making.
Yeah, it seems like forever, really.
At upwards of £1,000 a square metre typically, a single-storey extension isn't a cheap way to add value. But if Richard and Carla have the money for it, they should see a return on their investment.
I am excited. We're putting a lot of, effort into trying to get a better home.
Over in Yorkshire, Carl and Paul had an expensive build of their own. Their massive £100,000 extension was well underway, laying waste to their boxy 1970s house.
The build's been going now for about 3 weeks. As you can see, it's an absolute bomb site.
Which is putting it mildly. The kitchen and lounge have been knocked through, the windows are gone, and unbelievably...
We are living in the house at the moment, but we have spent some time in the caravan.
And there's more chaos to come as the workmen tackle the foundations for the extension. Problems with drainage pipes mean Carl and Paul have had to push the footprint of the house by an extra metre. So it's now 4 metres in total. This means 12 tonnes of concrete for the foundations and a further 8 for the base/extension floor. As often happens, the bigger the project, the bigger the issues. Asbestos was discovered in the floor, so that delayed the build, as did the moving of an electricity box. Delays that won't be helped with the onset of winter.
Summer is over. and the Yorkshire winter is setting in. And Carl and Paul's house has been torn to shreds. This is the biggest project we've ever worked on, but expectations are very high. What is it going to look like when it's finished? Blimey, O'Reilly. What have they done? Well, there is no going back now.
They're getting materials at cost price, which means Carl will actually be getting his beloved overhang.
This is going to be a huge open plan kitchen, diner, sitting room, going the whole way round from where I've just stepped out round here and back in. When it's finished, it will be as light standing here almost as it is now.
Bringing the outside in is exactly what they wanted. And upstairs, by moving the bedroom door and extending the bathroom into the bedroom, they'll soon be getting their walk-in shower too.
The thing about this house is it's not a great beauty.
No.
You could argue that you're polishing a turd here.
Yes.
But the garden is really special. I'm very, very excited about seeing this as it goes forward. I think it is optimistic, but if you're going to do it, you might as well do it
Absolutely.
With bells
properly,
on.
with bells on. Exactly.
Absolutely.
You literally took those exact words out of my mouth. With bells on.
Top of Carl and Paul's wish list is an adequate space to entertain. When designing a home or room for gathering and socialising, it helps to think about the different ways guests are going to use it. Encourage easy flow by creating options for sitting, standing and passing through. Modular sofas can be moved around as required, pocket doors open or closed, depending on the size of the group. And dimmers help to adjust the lighting to fit the mood. They can transform a room, taking it from day to night. With that in mind, I'm taking Paul and Carl to look at some lighting options.
Natural light is the #1 thing people look for in a new home.
But when it's dark and you want to set the mood, there's only one thing for it.
Well, like the 2 silver balls.
Yeah.
Yes, I quite like these. So you don't have to have a massive drop on them, and they are over the breakfast bar.
Yeah.
And I do like the abstract shape of it.
Well, that was easy. There's no beating around the bush with Carl and Paul. They know what they like, and that's silver balls.
And what's the price on this one?
Well, we shall cross that bridge when we get to it.
Big shiny balls like these ones are never going to come cheap. This one costs over £400. Large statement lights can be hung low, so as to take centre stage in your kitchen. It's good, though, to have different layers of lighting throughout. LED strip lights positioned between the floor and the units can also create a clever floating effect. With such a big downstairs space, Carl and Paul will also need at least 30 spotlights. The general rule of thumb is to place 1 light per square metre, but the strength of the light will vary by room. As a workspace, the kitchen will invariably require more light, but a bedroom or lounge a softer ambience.
It has been a successful shopping trip, yes.
And probably expensive.
Yes.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's where our tastes are going at the moment with that.
It looks that way.
Carl and Paul weren't the only ones with extravagant tastes. Over in Birmingham, Carla and Richard had increased the budget for their extension build.
I don't have the exact figures, but it's probably going to cost in the region of £75,000.
While they're spending more than double the original budget, it means Carla has her kitchen and extension, and Richard will have his loft conversion too.
It is a massive, massive amount. And that has its moments where you have a bit of a palpitation.
So I was determined to cut costs in any part of the budget I could. The average cost of a tin of emulsion is around £9 per litre. But used or end-of-line paint can cost as little as £2 a litre.
Obviously, like everything that's second-hand or used already, you can't come to it looking for a specific colour. You've just got to look at everything that's there and think, what's pretty, what would suit my house? You guys, I think that you are probably better off painting everything white and then looking for areas that you want to put some colour.
OK.
Could you live with everything else being a kind of warm white?
Yeah, I could.
And you would love that. Is that what you prefer?
Yeah, I'm not big on colour.
Choosing a paint colour, it's imperative you can see it when dry. So take a sample home and either try it on the wall or just paint a sheet of paper, as it really will help you visualise the impact on the room.
Can you live with these colours? Are they pale enough for you?
Yeah, they're not offensive.
If trying to minimise costs, paint isn't the only thing we can buy second-hand. Most people know about used floorboards and furniture. But what about boxes of tiles, rolls of wallpaper, or even taps and doors that are going spare? In fact, it's even possible to buy a whole kitchen second-hand, saving up to 90% of the original value. If you can buy a pre-loved kitchen, why not sell yours by contacting a specialist used or pre-owned kitchen company? A recent study claimed that 44% of homeowners didn't realise this was an option. Not only is selling your kitchen possible, but on average could earn £3,000 to £4,000. Over in Yorkshire, despite my brilliant plans for an extension, Phil was trying to convince Carl and Paul that the only way they were going to get a house with all the entertaining space they needed was to move.
Here we are.
Oh, wow. First impression's very good.
His first property was £10,000 under Carl and Paul's £500,000 budget and had a large kitchen diner, a spacious lounge and 4 beautiful bedrooms.
This is stunning.
That ticks the boxes.
This kitchen is absolutely fabulous. It's beautiful.
And you surprised me.
You didn't want that to happen, did you?
Seriously, I didn't. I'm struggling to pick holes in it, you know, for my sake. It's a great find. I can't pick fault with it. There's
no, that's
other than to pick it up and put it in our location.
If I was hoping Phil would stumble at the next hurdle, I was in for disappointment.
It's nice and private, it's got good space, and it's absolutely stunning inside.
It is. It's a good-looking house.
It's got great views as well on the back here. I'm shocked, actually. Come on, let's have a look. Come on.
This stunning 3-bed detached house was again under budget at £475,000. It featured another open-plan kitchen diner, chill-out area, and even a wood burner. There was also a formal sitting room, a study, and 2 luxurious en-suites upstairs. Space they'd never get at home, even after extending.
Now, arguably, I think this is an even better
lovely
social kitchen than that other house that I showed you.
This is excellent. Wow. This is absolutely stunning.
We're blown away, to be honest. Yeah. This is exactly what we're aspiring to with our own project. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
That is pretty swish, isn't it?
This is lovely. It's stunning.
So you can see that this was a bedroom, and they made it into the most magnificent ensuite.
I love it, actually. Yeah.
We'll have to seriously think about this.
Yeah, we do. It's a goer, absolutely. It ticks all the boxes. I can't fault it at the moment, not a thing. Yeah, you've got me. Get sucker punched.
Phil's final property was yet again under budget at £470,000. It had another kitchen, dining and entertaining space with a good-sized lounge and balcony. Up top, there were 4 bedrooms, 2 en-suites, and a lovely family bathroom. But luckily for me, Carl and Paul weren't blown away.
Neither of you seem quite as enamoured or excited as the earlier house.
No, I don't think this one quite fits the mark as well as the last one did.
Oh well, you can't win them all, Phil.
I think we do have some big decisions to make.
We do have a lot to think about and a lot to talk about. Definitely opened our eyes, yours more than mine.
4 months after their mammoth extension build began, it was time to catch up with Paul and Carl to find out if they were going to love it or list it.
Come on then, let's do this. It looks like a crime scene here.
The work is not 100% complete, and the gardens have certainly suffered during the work, but I'm still confident.
This is going to have to be good to compete with my house.
Oh, welcome back, guys.
You've no chance, Phil. Prepared to be wowed. This house is now an absolute stunner. Gone is the cramped kitchen and tiny lounge. Now it's a 44% larger open plan, top spec kitchen, diner and living space.
What have you done?
What have we done?
Absolutely. Just gobsmacked.
So
It's
before,
amazing.
you couldn't entertain in the house. You had to do all of your entertaining in the garden.
We did.
And now you can entertain here and enjoy the garden. Oh, I'm a bit deflated. I'm pleased for you because it's what's nuts.
That's right, Phil. There'll be no more rained-off barbecues outside. This is the ultimate entertaining space now.
God, it's a party house. Let's face it. I mean, it just looks fantastic.
How much did the glass cost?
Oh, that was quite a lot.
It was the biggest part of the budget.
Yeah, it was.
At nearly 23,000, it certainly was. But with top-to-bottom glass windows, the garden truly has become one with the house. And once the greenery returns, the views will be incredible.
Was it a complete nightmare?
Yes.
Well, once you've started, there's no going back.
No, absolutely.
It was all worth it in the end as the extravagance continues upstairs. The dated, uninspiring small bathroom has been revamped and made bigger to allow for a bath and separate walk-in shower. And the overcrowded bedroom and blown windows have been transformed into an incredible, slick and modern space. Bifold doors open up to what is an incredible view to wake up to.
It's completely stunning. You can hear the sound of the waterfall and the birds.
And of course, we get to make use of the roof terrace when the sun comes out.
This house has its architectural compromises.
Yes.
But who cares once you're in it? You don't stand in the street looking at your house. You stand in it looking out, and you can't fault what you see and hear.
The overhang and patio area still need completing, as does Poppy's shower utility room. But they should be finished soon, and even without them, the place is stunning.
But let's not forget, they also saw some pretty amazing places with me, Kirstie.
I think it's fair to say that you guys set me a pretty substantial challenge simply because of what you were doing here. But I don't think either of you actually quite expected to see the kind of houses that I showed you.
That's very fair, yeah.
The second one, it was almost like it had been built for you.
You actually turned around and said it's almost when you could pack your bags and walk straight into, didn't you?
Absolutely.
If you hadn't started the work here and I'd showed you that house, would you have done the work here?
I wouldn't have started the work on this house. It's been stressful. It's taken out on both of us.
Is it worth it?
It works, doesn't it? It's wonderful.
It's wonderful, indeed. It's absolutely wonderful.
Should we go for it?
Are you going to love it?
Or list it?
I am happy to say, but sorry, Phil, we are going to love it. The garden has been brought into the house. We've got the peace, the tranquility around here. We're not overlooked. I think I've had to relearn and re-remember that when we came here, that's what we love. Me
Look at you both, you're so pleased with it, and rightly so. Congratulations, really well done.
Thank you.
Here's to pursuing your dreams and ignoring the advice of the cautious.
It was a very ambitious project that they undertook. That was a massive call, investing that much on the glass. It turned out incredibly well.
It turned out brilliantly. I really didn't want for them to leave that location, particularly as that master bedroom had that phenomenal view.
Because they had the balcony, actually it meant that they could use the flat roof and therefore it was like another room.
It was phenomenal, yeah. It must have been amazing during this summer.
But they did it hard, didn't they? Through the work and the budgeting and the winter and the Christmas.
Also,
and, it's hard
they
work.
really made a real sacrifice to living as they did with the building work, really going for it in that way, just saying, I know this is only 6 weeks, I know this is only 8 weeks, I'm going to sacrifice my standard of living for that period of time in order to save money and put all the money into the work.
Yeah.
And it really showed.
Over in Birmingham, Carla and Richard were building their extension. But no matter how brilliant it was, Phil was still trying to entice them with houses that offered the tranquility and fabulous kitchen Carla was dreaming of.
And here we are.
His first property was bang on budget at £335,000. Carla was on board, but Richard...
I think it's adequate so far from what we've seen.
It's adequate.
Yeah. I love the fact that we've had no traffic. It's been really, really quiet. It's just that did it for me.
It tends to happen on a cul-de-sac, darling. But yes.
Can I smack him now?
Phil's second property also had the all-important kitchen space. But despite being on the market for just £250,000...
Seriously?
Yeah.
250?
Richard wasn't budging.
It's not a competition, darling.
It is.
Phil's next house ticked all of the boxes on the wish list.
Lovely. What do you think?
A detached family home on a quiet road, close to some of the best schools in the area. But it was more than £10,000 over budget. Phil could only hope the 2 generous reception rooms, 4 good-sized bedrooms, and large modern kitchen would help Richard see past the price tag.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's different from the other one, but feels more open.
Yes.
Oh, this is gorgeous.
It's the biggest ground floor space that I've been in.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Lovely. I'm pleased. Good tick. Kitchen tick.
Their asking price is just under 345 grand.
All right, OK.
Right. So top end of budget.
Yeah.
But I do think you could...
Do a deal. I think it's been a really, really good surprise, really.
I didn't think we would be able to get a detached within our budget.
Yeah, so that's been a good eye-opener for you.
Yeah, a bit, yeah.
Kirstie started out with a huge amount to do on this little challenge of ours, and I think I probably just made it even harder for her. So be it.
Not so fast, Philip, because Richard and Carla's extension is going to knock your socks off.
Well, it's all to play for. Here we go.
You is toast.
Hello. Anybody home?
Oh, I think we...
How you doing?
Oh, hi.
Hi, yeah.
Come on in.
When we first walked through Richard and Carla's front door, their entire house was in desperate need of attention. In fact, the cracks were quite literally showing. Now it's a very different story. Both the decor and the layout are unrecognisable. The pokey kitchen that was driving Carla to despair is but a distant memory. In its place, we have open-plan living that seems almost endless, thanks to a 241 square foot extension.
Flipping hell.
What do you think?
It's huge.
I'll say. As now the Charleses have an additional living area, generous dining that looks out onto the garden, and best of all, Carla's state-of-the-art kitchen.
So the original kitchen was just that bit.
That's it.
That's the dining room, and all that's new.
Yeah, all that's new.
Yeah.
It's vast.
But the best thing about this design is the fact that it brings the family together in one space.
It'd be a very social room.
Yeah, it definitely is. It is what I was used to, it's what I grew up with. We had a dad who was always entertaining his friends, and we were all there in the kitchen. That's what I wanted. I wanted a space where the family could congregate and hang out. You're gonna make me cry.
Oh.
Though there is one more space at this family's disposal. Remember the dated living room? Now it's utterly modern and bigger as we've removed the redundant fireplace. What's more, the built-in storage means Richard's 1,000 or so CDs are no longer squeezed into his study.
I mean, this is much sleeker, more modern, you know, and in keeping with the kitchen.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a continuity throughout the house now.
Yeah,
And you've done a lovely job on the floor.
Having embraced the joys of renovating, Richard and Carla are transforming the rest of the house as well. So, Daniel now has a brand new bedroom. Meanwhile, the loft conversion should be signed off by the building inspector within the next few weeks, and then the master bedroom below can be completed as well. But having spent a grand total of £75,000, does this mean the Charleses have done the work to sell up or stay put?
You went from not wanting builders back in the house to almost building a new house.
Yeah.
Doubling the budget on the way through.
If I'm going to do work, I might as well get it all done to an extent where I can really enjoy the house as much as possible.
But Sutton Coldfield, detached, quiet cul-de-sac, at a price you could afford, with the kitchen that Carla loved and a beautiful garden.
The house, I think the living area is brilliant. However, I think the upstairs space, you know, were a little small.
That house was the one house that actually opened Richard's eyes.
Richard and Carla, after all this work, after everything else, are you going to love it?
Or list it.
I'm definitely going to...
Come on, you two.
I say listed.
You're going to say he's listing it?
I'm going to say listed.
Come on! You beautiful man! You beautiful, beautiful man!
Are kidding me.
Someone said, if it is, this is you're going to be your forever house, then you love it. If it is, you think that you're going to want to move, list it. So
It is a fantastic space, but I think the most important thing is it where I want to spend the next 20 years? No.
Phil's so thrilled that his ears have gone pink.
For me, it means that he has really taken on board the things that I've said to him and what is best for our family at this point. And that's really, really crucial, really. So, yeah. Props to you.
I'm a really nice man.
You've got some brownie points.
Oh, definitely.
Store them up for a bit.
Definitely. He'll have to, because he spends them very wildly.
I love a happy ending.
Well, it's not over yet, Phil, as 4 years later, we caught up with Carla and Richard to see how they're getting on. And I think you're in for a bit of a shock.
Just leave that to do its stuff. Clearly, we haven't moved. In terms of what has been a challenging year this year, I think the extensions made living in the house much, much better.
Yeah, because we wouldn't have had the space, particularly this room. Carla could be cooking, you know, I could be watching TV, Daniel could be...
Priorities.
Yeah, Daniel could be, you know, doing some homework. I think it would have contributed, you know, to the family life. I'm very happy with the money that we spent.
It feels more like a home now. Definitely feels more like a home than a stopgap house. Love the kitchen, love to work in the space, love having friends over. I think we've had 30 over, and it hasn't felt
really
like horrendously.
When did we have 30 people over?
When you were at work. No, I'm just kidding. It was worth it to get the space that we have and a more comfortable lifestyle.
The fact that we didn't move is secondary, but the fact that we've got a much nicer house to live in was absolutely worthwhile.
It's interesting to hear them say that during this year, that big room has been a complete lifesaver.
And we're now enjoying living in that home rather than being stuck in something
that they didn't like.
Yeah. Richard so didn't want to move. He just pulled out all the stops.
Do you know that was the first time that I said, don't spend that much money, don't do that much
He
work.
was determined.
And they completely ignored me.
Yeah.
And they were completely right, 100%. What they got was far more ambitious than anything I would have done, and the result was phenomenal.
But there is a huge amount that goes into a successful extension like that. There was a lot of planning and strategy and advice.
You have to put your heart and soul into it. You can't just find builders, let them get on with it. You have to make a lot of decisions. You have to really keep an eye on the budget. You have to keep an eye on you have to manage the whole thing.
Which they did.
Yeah.
With your help, and they're really happy. So, good job.